Hey guys, Lady Liberty Stacker here. I'm back again for another video. Today is December 20th, 2021, and I have a few cast iron thoughts to share with you today. I don't make as many videos as I used to because I'm not restoring a lot of videos, or I'm not restoring a lot of cast iron right now, or even acquiring cast iron right now, just focusing on other things. But a couple of things kind of inspired me. For one, I have a couple number 6 skillets here. I have a cracked Griswold small block logo skillet and a Wagner ware number 6. And I will share a tip from a viewer on detecting cracks in your cast iron. Just a different way to do it than I had been doing it. So before we get to that, this skillet here was one of my first, I think it was the first Griswold that I ever bought. I'm going to move the wooden spoon. And it looks pretty good. I did a mini maintenance seasoning on it. But what inspired me, and if you want to see a video of actually how this looks when the situation comes up again, I will make it if you put it below in the comment section. But this skillet looks pretty splotchy. Right now it doesn't, but it looks splotchy around the sidewalls and a little bit on the bottom. And this is a well-seasoned skillet, but occasionally when you use it to cook something and then put it in the oven to bake, and you leave it in there for a little while, then it will have some either food residue or splotchiness to it. And I, thoroughly cleaned it yesterday. I baked a hamburger casserole in here for keto. It's got hamburger in there, and I tried it for the first time, so I didn't really know if it was going to come out. But you first cook the ground beef in here, and I put a little bit of green pepper in and spices. Then you add some cream cheese and cheddar cheese, and once everything's incorporated, you bake it in the oven for 10 minutes at 400 degrees. That's kind of the summary of the casserole. Turned out great. And I left it in there for a little bit. I had a couple of pieces myself. I was starved yesterday. And then I put everything away because I don't like to let things sit in my cast iron overnight. So I cleaned it, and then I came back to it and found all kinds of splotchiness around the sidewalls. You can't see anything now because I did a mini reseasoning, just using a completely infiltrated rag that I didn't even have to add extra oil to. I usually use grapeseed oil or several high-smoked organic oils to season my cast iron. But I did do that, and I did a mini seasoning, and it looks great, all ready to cook again. So anyway, I wanted to touch on that. If you want to see what it looked like before, the next time this occurs, I will do a video and show you. But that's the reason why mini seasonings are so important, to keep your cast iron in pristine condition. And again, this is the first Griswold that I ever bought. It has some flaws on it, and it's got some pitting right there that I can't get rid of. But I was so excited to find it, I bought it. Anyway, I will be back in just a moment to show you the crack test. I had a viewer reach out to me, and he didn't give me permission to give him a shout out, but he did email me, and he asked me to share this with the cast iron community, a trick that's worked for him, and when he doesn't follow his tip, he could end up with a cracked cast iron skillet. So anyway, what you're looking at here, I'm going to show you the demo based on what he said, also with my additional tips to prevent buying a cracked cast iron piece. What you're looking at here is my very first piece I ever acquired, my Wagner ware, 1056Q, number 6. And this piece was the very first piece I restored. And I actually did a little bit of wire wheeling on it. Didn't cause any damage because I did it very carefully. And but it was advice that I had gotten from a channel that doesn't really produce cast iron anymore, but at the time he had like a million followers. So I presumed it was correct. But at any rate, this just goes to prove that cast iron can hold seasoning as long as you don't beat the heck out of it. No sandblasting, no sanding, and all that kind of stuff. Just a little bit of touch-ups where it needed to be smoothed out so it could be used. But this one is a beauty, and it's not cracked. And I'm going to show the difference with the wooden spoon technique compared to one that's cracked. Now this one here I'll move it out of the way. This one is a Griswold, a small logo number 6 Griswold, same size. And just a note on the size, guys, when you do this trick, when you wrap the iron spoon, or the wooden spoon on your skillets, it's going to have a different sound the smaller the skillet is. It's going to sound more flat than a bell ring with a larger skillet, just to let you know. So, but at any rate, this one does have a crack, and I will point that out to you. But I did buy it I picked it up at a flea market. I was ready to buy it, and then I said something to the vendor saying, uh-oh, there is, let me see if I can see it here. There is a crack by the handle. See that there? Right there. And he goes, oh, I didn't see that. And this was really clean when I picked it up. He just didn't notice a crack, or I don't know. I'll just take his word for it that he didn't notice the crack. But it was cleaned up, and I don't know how you could possibly not notice a crack if you're looking for it. But it wasn't covered in crud, but he gave it to me for free. So anyway, I'm going to do the technique that I've always done and then show the differences between both of these skillets. I'm going to move this one over here so you can see it. The Wagner 6, no cracks. The Griswold 6, cracked by the handle. So I'm going to go ahead and put the camera down. I'm going to back it up so you guys can see right there. And we're going to show how I've always done it. Okay, what I've always done is I pick up the skillet by the handle, and I take my wooden spoon and beat around it. Sounds a little tinny. The bottom, there's no cracks on it. It rings like a bell. That's the Griswold with a crack. The Wagner doesn't have a crack, so we're going to do the same thing. Hold it up by the handle. And again, on the side walls, it sounds kind of flat. Be it the smaller skillet. On the middle, it sounds a better ringtone. No cracks. That doesn't actually sound a whole lot different. Now, the tip that this viewer gave me was you take your cast iron pan, you hold it with your fingers like this underneath, flip it over on the cooking surface, so you do not rest it on your wrist, and you wrap with a spoon. This one sounds a little flat. Naturally it will there because my fingers are underneath there, but sounds a little tinny there. We're going to do the same thing with the Wagner ware, no cracks, just the fingers. That sounds much better even by the handle because there's more, there's more material there. That won't sound quite as good as the sidewalls. It just lasts longer with that technique. Again, we're going to do it this way to show you the one with the crack. Sounds more flat. Okay. So we have this one with the crack, and it sounded a little flat with the technique holding it like this and ringing it with the spoon, as opposed to one without the crack. Has a much better ring to it. Now, that's probably the better technique than mine. It's, I had learned from my viewers also. But the other thing that you always should do, as long as it's not covered in crust, is to feel with your hands. And just feel around. You may want to close your eyes, feel. Right there, I feel the crack. And there it is right there. You feel the crack, but feel all around, cooking surface, side walls, flip it over, side walls, and on the back. Now if it's covered in crust, you can't do that. If it's fairly collectible skillet, you think you've got a fairly collectible skillet, pay only what's reasonable. If it's something like maybe a Griswold small logo, I wouldn't offer any more than $5 or $10 for it. If they're not willing to take it, covered in crud and rust, then pass. You might have a crack there. It's impossible to always tell if you do. But always feel with your hands whenever possible, and many times you can pick up the crack. And anyway, that is my updated tricks and tips for not buying cast iron with a crack. Please leave a question or comment below, and give this a thumb up if you want to see more videos like this. Again, I thank my viewer for reaching out to me, and appreciate that. That's a wonderful tip, and I think we all should use that one whenever possible before you buy cast iron. And anyway, I appreciate you guys watching. Thanks, and go make it a great day.